Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So got the passenger side air blower out again, and stand by, we'll come back to that just real quick. If you watched the previous videos, you saw that I had the console all out and the radio out. Got the majority of back together. I put everything back together and then took the fan out on the, took the glove box and the fan out on this side because we wanted to test a couple of things. I replaced all the fuses and all the anything that looked like it needed to be replaced down in there, any bulbs or anything. There's a little, there's a light bulb in there, and it's kind of cool. It's LED, or it's not LED, it's fiber optic wires that go up and light up the dash. Kind of neat. There's one bulb. It's right in that metal thing, right next to the gear shifter. But it's just a standard old, like, overhead projector bulb. So I went ahead and hooked up the battery, and like I said before, if you watched that video right before this, I wanted to see if we got power at our wiring harness up here whenever I turn the switch on. All right, the mode control on the Delaware system. So I came back here, connected up the battery, turned the key to ACC, went back over here, turned the mode control to I guess defrost, so high fan speed, tested with the multimeter, and out of the harness, we're getting 12 volts. So we know we're getting power to the fan, so that means something's going on with the fan because we've traced everything else. The ECU, all of the fuses have all been replaced, all the connectors have been cleaned up. So we'll jump in that in just a minute, but one of the other things I did was I just took a paper clip, believe it or not, and I jumped a couple of these wires. I think it was the green and might have been the black and the green, or the black and the, I guess that's kind of a brown color there. And sure enough, the gauge in the dash for the fuel level jumped up. So we've got a bad sending unit back here, and I thought I'd be able to resurrect that, you know, with the soldering that I did on it. But apparently not. I don't think I have the wires backwards because there is a ground and then there's the two rheostat wires. I switched those around. I switched the ground, nothing. It didn't do anything. But when I jump the wires, it does affect the gauge up there. So we've got a bad sending unit. We're going to have to get a new one. It might be the float in there. I don't know. So step over here to the mess. I have got it rigged up so you all can see that it does turn, the fan does run whenever I hook up a little 12-volt battery here. And what I'm doing right now is I'm waiting on the soldering iron. The way this blower sits in the car is like this, okay? And then right here you've got your duct, that blue duct right there that goes down, and it pulls from the Delaware system, goes into here, and then depending on what mode you set on it, vacuum controlled solenoid here, either defrost on the top or the flap on the bottom for your footwell. Well, right here is this little circuit board. You've got 3 resistors and a thermal switch. This is the thermal switch, okay? And this sits like that. And then there's a plastic cover that goes over. And there's 3 just little rivets there. You can get your rivet bit for your drill, take off the top of the rivets, and then take those out, okay? And then this will come out just like this. So what I did was I looked at this and I was like, look at that. The solder for, you can barely see it. It looks like 2 little nipples, I guess, there and there. The solder is not on the thermal switch. Same thing with back there. Looks like it got hot or something. And what that is, that's one of our resistors. So I got the multimeter out. I tested the resistors. I set it to 20,000 ohms. And I'm coming up with like 0.300 or something like that on the ohms for the big one. And then the small one, I think it was like 7 or something. So we know our resistors are good. The only thing is those wires for the resistors going in and coming out were absolutely corroded with crud, and they go through the plastic right there in the circuit board, and then they're soldered there. And then the dividing lines between the solder and then this little capacitor, that's basically all this is a thermal switch. So why Jaguar put this, if this sits like this, and your console is here, you've got your heater core and your air conditioner condenser, and then the fans suck the air past the heater core and the AC condenser. It goes in here, so all that moisture, maybe dry or different temperatured air goes past this. That's fine for the thermal cutoff switch, but not for the resistor wiring and the circuit board wiring. So there's no covering or anything on there. Even just a little probe or a rod or something would have been better than the way they thought this genius idea up. So I'm gonna go ahead and resolder and heat up the wires here on each one of these resistors, and then that'll reseat the solder here, and then I'll come on top and I'll hit those two little nubs to make sure those are seated. And then, let me share, this is how your flaps work in the car. They're vacuum operated, so you got this big vacuum operated solenoid, I guess you'd call it. And if I go down in here, and you see, there is the vacuum, there's a rod right there in that little L shape. So this rod's connected to the top, that one's to the bottom, and there you go, see? And there's a giant spring over here. Now the other thing that's interesting, if I can get the camera in there, right about there is a relay. It sits about right there. So long forceps, pulled it out, tested the relay, clicks good. It's not a relay problem. So let's come back over here. I've got this rigged up so you guys can hear the fan motor. Okay, so let me get my little rig tool here, and we'll put that in one hole, and then we'll get our negative. We'll just sit that there, and then listen. Oh, let me see if I can't do this one-handed. This is gonna be fun. All right, there we go. All right, listen. So direct 12 volt, the fan works. So we've got something going on over here, because that's what tells you have basically this here, and I'm going to take that out and clean it with some some electrical contact cleaner. But this right here is a kind of like a mass flow sensor. It's just a little nub that goes in there, and then these wires here they go in here, and then this whole harness goes over to that little setup over here, and they tell how much airflow is going through compared to the temperature of the air. And then that talks to the ECU from what I've read. So I'm gonna clean everything up because we've got good brushes in here. We've got a good electric motor. It runs on 12 volts straight to it. So we've got an issue right here with this little circuit board, and I'm gonna heat this up and get the soldering iron and go ahead and just tap it a couple of times, put this back in the car, plug it up, and then do just like I did, oh, I gotta put my relay back in there, obviously, but plug it up and then turn the mode control and see if we fixed it by just a couple of solder and a couple of taps on the solder and some electrical contact cleaner. And your and I favorite, the brass bristled brush that I used over to get all the corrosion off of here. Now, all the ohms checked correct on everything, so wish me luck. While I'm sitting down, I've got the third brake light switch out, and it's just connected right there to those two little nubs there. There's a harness that clips there. And then this sits in the car like that. There's the little places where it would have been glued on the windshield. And then here's the cover, like I showed you before, that just kind of slides up underneath there like that. And those two little holes down there, there's the little push clips underneath there that you just push those up, and then that cover would slide back. Now, taking one of these off, you just have a standard old just 5-watt bulb, and most of them looked okay. It was, I think it was this one. Let me pull this one out real quick. Yeah, that one's burned out, see? So we'll get some 5-watt bulbs. We'll put those back in there. I'm sure that probably is one of the things that's showing our instrument cluster with the bulb out. Word to the wise, you do not need to take out your cigarette or your ashtrays out of your wood console, which is sitting right over there. These things just basically clamp like this underneath there. So this little edge here and those little rubber things just kind of clamp it up on the wood. So you don't need to take those out. I don't know why I did it. There's only screws or whatever in there holding it. So here is the wood console, and it looks like it originally was a dark color, and then the bleach from the sunlight and everything has lightened it up. So you can see where that little rubber seal is or was, and then where the ashtray set. Yeah, I think it was a darker kind of a walnut finish. So what I've got on there right now is some wood moisturizer. And what am I using? I'm using Butcher Block conditioner. I thought that was the best thing to put on here, just to get a little bit more moisture in there. I went around all of the edges as well, because that's where it's gonna lose the majority of its moisture. And then I'll wipe that off, and I might just take some polyurethane and blast it. It's not bad enough to want to strip everything off and get a $200 piece of wood. You know, this burled, whatever it is, maple, walnut, the Jaguar used, because then it's not going to match the rest in there that's already bleached out. So I think I probably will just put some polyurethane on that. That'll bring this up, and then it'll seal all the cracks, and we'll have many more years of that wood console ready to go. So, all right, well, thanks so much for watching, and wish me luck on this blower motor. Hopefully I'll get it working, and then if that works on this side, then we'll jump on the other side and see what's going on with that one. That one's going to be way more involved, because I got to take out the gauges, and it looks like the fuse box and all of that over there, and probably the steering wheel out. So she's coming together, little Mickey Mouse stuff. Got it narrowed down to something on the blower motor. So I think we're gonna be okay, folks. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what I do, if you like the car, give me a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I'm just one guy working on an old 1989 Jaguar XJS in absolute immaculate condition. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon.